When pursuing your goals and dreams and things don't go as planned, do you slow down? Do you lose motivation? Do you find yourself stuck there longer than you want, overthinking, over evaluating things?
Savage.
This program contains subject matter and language that may be disturbing to some viewers. Viewer discretion is advised.
We're having more technical problems. We live in the 21st century.
No! Savage. Unfiltered.
Under. The only reason I know this is because I lived under tyranny. I lived.
Oh, shut the fuck up! You're a fucking
Your host, Michael Gardner.
Proper fashion at the proper time.
Like a Hellcat.
Hey guys,
But yeah, guys, we're gonna be getting into a really good episode today. We have Valerie Marksym from her organization, her base, however you want to call it, through Maksymizing Life. Got to check out a little bit of her profile through Matchmaker FM. She's affiliated with a lot of different types of outlets. So, guys, if you're I strongly suggest you check her out after this episode. She's a tremendous individual. I've gotten to check out some of her video podcasting that she was on other shows, audio. You're all over the place, Valerie. First and foremost, welcome to Savage Unfiltered. I'm the host, Michael, and this is Joseph joining me from Detroit, Michigan.
Oh, wow. Well, thank you for having me in Detroit. I was born in Detroit, so we like Michigan.
Oh, cool. Yeah, that's great. And yeah, I'm on Matchmaker FM also, which for people who don't know what that is, we're not talking about a dating app. It is for those who do podcasts and appear on podcasts to commingle with each other, to find each other and coordinate podcasts.
Yeah, definitely. It's not a dating site, guys. I keep on getting the same thing through like emails and stuff. When I say, reach out to me on Matchmaker FM because I'm on Matchmaker FM. They're like, what? We don't want to date you. We want to. The label's a little off. It's a little misleading. I think they should rename the platform. I think that's my own.
Well, it's matchmaker.fm. So when you use the whole thing, it makes sense. Oh, FM, radio. But people seem to think it's a hookup site, but no, it's not.
So yeah, we're going to talk, Joseph. We're going to be talking to our guest here about fitness. I know she has a tremendous story behind it, and I love for her to share it with the audience here about her bodybuilding. And she's got another story too that I'm sure she would love to share. Let's start off with the bodybuilding, Valerie. How did you get into bodybuilding?
Okay. Well, I was always interested in the bodybuilding back when I was a teen because I was a gymnast, and it was always intriguing to me. But I got married at 19, was pregnant at 18, so that kind of went out the door. And when I divorced for the second time at 45 years old, I was at a very, very broken place in life, like so broken I couldn't even answer the questionnaire to my life coach. And she wanted to know what my hobbies were. And I really didn't even understand what that meant. I'm like, I've heard the word hobby, but like, you mean like, do I sew? Do I knit? Like, what do you mean my hobbies? No clue. And so she's really asked me to really try to find some hobbies, because she said, if you have a hobby that's going to help with your outlet, that's going to give you a place that you can go to, that's kind of your happy place, something that you do for you. And I tried running, and that just wasn't it. I actually ran the Houston Marathon, the full 26 miles. And I was like, okay, that's a one and done. We're going to mark that off. And I tried. Tennis was not for me either. For whatever reason, more balls went over the fence than to the next person. I did not want to play with me. So I'm like, okay. And then a friend of mine, was having coffee with her, and she was telling me about this thing she was going to do. And she's going to be in a bikini, and she's going to be on stage, and she's going to be posing. Now, mind you, we're like 45 years old at this age. So I've had 4 kids later. So I'm like listening, and I'm like, you mean like a bodybuilding competition? And she's like, yeah, I think I'm going to do it. And I didn't even know they had bodybuilding competitions for that age. I was thinking, that's for the young people. And
yeah, looking at your age, Valerie, and I mean, with all due respect, I mean, you're no spring chicken. I mean, you're still doing it
exactly.
in your early 50s, and I mean, you have a tremendous physique. I mean, that's great. I mean, I wish other elderly people, not yourself, but people like in their 60s and 70s would carry the same demeanor. You know what I mean?
Yeah, like I was joking with Michael when he said you were coming on. I turned 60 last year, so I'm getting up there. I'm pretty lazy, so I'm way, way, way out of shape. So I was joking. Good. I can ask her to help rebuild my body.
It's really important. I think, I do think for me, just when we get our entire maximizing life means like maximizing every area of your life. And when you can really tap into that, I don't know, to me, age is just a number. Like I feel 25. I don't feel any older than I did when I was 25, other than I have a birthday coming up and I'm turning 52. So it's like, oh, okay, I guess we are.
Yeah. I was checking out some of your pictures, Valerie, and you look like you're in your 30s. I mean, I'm being quite honest with you. I mean, when I looked at the age, I'm like, no, there's no freaking way that she's in her early 50s. Wow.
I pulled some photos out whenever I was in between two marriages that were very toxic. And I'm not even kidding you. I look 20 years older than I look today, 30 years older. And that was when I was in my 30s. And so I know stress, what it can do to a body. And so that's why my whole message with, people are like, you need to make this a movement, maximizing life, taking every area to that next level, whether it's emotional, mental, physical, relationships, all of them. Because when you can really invest in yourself and get to that level of operating, I don't know, I think because the stress is down, you just don't age as fast.
So what's the secret, Valerie, if you'd like to share? What's the secret of not aging? Because not only yourself, but I've spoken to other people in their 50s and 60s and 70s. I'm in my 40s, okay, just to kind of give the audience my age out there. But what's the secret, to staying young and not aging? Is it the fitness? Is it, staying active? Is that the secret? Or is there obviously there's creams maybe, or what's the secret?
I need to get some creams. I don't have any, but I honestly think it's a mindset. I have friends that are in their 40s and 30s, even they're always saying, I'm so old, like my body's broken down. I can't, and they're like 20 years younger than me. And they just constantly speak it. And then you look at their life and they are falling apart, and, they have this ailment and that ailment, and they don't want to get up, and they put extra weight on, and they're tired and they sleep, and, and it ages you. And I do think that it's a mindset. I do think that, need to shift that to, I get to celebrate my 52nd birthday. I mean, we just went through the whole pandemic. How many people didn't get to say that? It's perspective. It's like showing up and staying in the positive side of life and keeping that positive energy and keeping that stress down, because the cortisol and all that rises when your stress goes up is nothing more than, it's going to age you fast, and it's going to, cause all kinds of sicknesses and stuff that are not necessary.
Yeah, I agree with you, Valerie. If you keep speaking it, you live it. If you talk yourself down, it's a self-fulfilling prophecy. That doesn't mean you have to then declare, okay, I'm going to become a bodybuilder tomorrow, but at least speak promising and hope better, and engage in some positive things. Like you said, hobbies, to avoid stress and cut down on the stress. I know we all have very busy lives, but you've got to engage in some things. And I talk often in interjecting humor in these shows, because no matter how serious things are, you've got to try to maintain a sense of humor, because indeed, laughter is indeed a good medicine.
Yes, I absolutely agree with that.
When your family is growing in ways you never expected,
you'd like to be outside the city.
Agents who are realtors are here for it. Here for the journey. Here with local knowledge beyond the listing. Here for it all, because that's who we are.
Live a life to the maximum. All day and night. All day and night. All day
Laughter is that's medicine to the soul. This last weekend was a very, when we do have to listen to our bodies and take the time out. So this is another thing that I do. I do listen to my body and I do take the time out, and I do understand that life is hard and tough. And a lot of times things are thrown our way that we have no control over, other than we have to deal with it on some level. And this last week, I just had 3 major things come at me, and, things that were out of my control, but yet they were weighing me down. And I realized by Sunday, I'm like, oh my goodness, okay, I need to fill my cup up. I need to do something to just like set all this aside. And I need to get outside. I need to go for a walk. I need to just concentrate on my breathing, those things, like just do something that makes me happy. For me, I like cauliflower pizza. I know that's probably silly, but I like it. So I went and ordered one.
The carbs, Valerie, you got to watch the carbs though, right?
Right now, when we're it's all in moderation, right? You still have to live, but there are moments you do have to take time out for yourself and listen. You cannot just go and not expect to break down at some point. So instead of having the breakdowns in life, I try to really listen to my body and say, okay, we need to take a time out and do whatever it is that makes me happy. I was going to go to Galveston for the day, but that didn't work out because my battery went out in my car. But just get out and do things that you can do that put a smile on your face, that that are your happy place.
Yeah. One second, Joseph. I was going to ask Valerie 1 second here. Hearing your story, Valerie, have you always, been into bodybuilding? Obviously, I'm trying to follow the story as much as I can, but did this start at a young age, or did it pick up somewhere in your 30s or 40s? Where did all this start out?
Okay. So when we were talking about my story back there, so it did not start until, like I said, I had my life coach and she's asking me what my hobby was, and I was trying to figure out a hobby. So at the very first time I competed, I was 46 years old. And I've never done it before. So that was all brand new for me. And bodybuilding and my competitions became my therapy. So I've taken the last 8 years. Now you can imagine, I was married at 19 and divorced at almost 45. So I never had the time to be at home. I never had the time to learn me. I never had any of that time. Right. So now all of a sudden at 45, you're like, there's a lot of stuff I need to fix that's broken. And well,
it sounds like you hit some rocks and bottoms along the way.
And so bodybuilding became my therapy without me realizing it, because you push so hard in a show to get your body to look like that. A 12-week period, you're just going hard, and it would spill into other areas of my life, like my confidence. Confidence, they say it's a muscle. You have to use it, you have to develop it.
Yeah.
And it developed my confidence. When I divorced, I had zero confidence. And so when I did my first show, just even getting on that stage, you had like 500 people look at you. I have no idea what I'm doing. I'm turning the wrong way. It was like,
wow. So these are big shows then. I mean, 500 people, that's a lot of people in attendance.
Yeah. Cause it was a big show that I did back in, I want to say it was 2017. It was the Ronnie Coleman. And at that time they had other events going on. So you had the bodybuilding on stage and you had the power lifters over here. You had, so it was a big, huge room. Like there might've been more people in there than that, but I'm guessing it was around that number. And yeah, so like the first time I went on stage, I drove to Dallas myself from Texas from Houston right after a divorce. That's a big deal, because in that divorce, I came out of having panic attacks every day and all that goes with that. So to get in a car and drive myself 3.5 hours to a show with no coach, because I didn't have the finances, I was my own coach. I did have an online coach that wrote my meal plan for me. Didn't have a posing coach there. I went on stage. Literally, I was like, what am I doing? Oh my gosh. Like I wanted to cry, because I get on stage and I didn't know what I was doing. I turned the wrong direction. We came on stage from the other side. I thought I had practice from the opposite side. Everything that could go wrong went wrong. I'm sure everybody was laughing at me because I didn't have any clue what I was doing. But I had to go on stage 2 more times. I was in 3 categories. And I was like, it's a
experience. You know what I mean? It's a learning experience. Joseph, you got anything to add, buddy?
Yeah, I wanted to go back to something you were saying about the cauliflower pizza, because it was almost a throwaway line there. And I'd like to repeat it. Everything in moderation, you said, right?
Yes.
Everything in moderation matters, and whether it be what you eat, how you think, how you act, the things you do in life. And I'm okay with the cauliflower pizza just as long as you're not a pineapple eater, pineapple pizza eater.
Oh, yeah, I don't put pineapple on my pizza.
Yeah, neither do I. To be honest with you, Valerie, I'm more of like a regular cheese kind of guy, or like a pepperoni or sausage type of guy.
Yeah, that's
I'm
what
not into those extra crazy toppings.
Yeah, I'm with you.
Yeah, nowadays you can get virtually anything on a pizza. There's like barbecue chicken pizza. I'm maybe a little tempted to try it, but I haven't yet. But yeah, you could. What's next? A chocolate pizza, Hershey topping, Hershey Kisses pizza. That'll be next, right?
They're banning Hershey's. I don't know if anybody's seen that, but yeah,
boycotting Hershey for Easter due to wokeism stuff again. But we don't want to get onto politics again.
yeah. We tackle it all, Valerie. People are like, "Are you a political podcast? Are you a culture and society podcast?" I was like, "No, we do it all here. You got a story? Come on the show and share it."
Exactly. I love that.
So what's next for Valerie Marksym here? I know you have your fitness and everything going on with that. Where's that going? I have been checking out a little bit of that, with the Maksymizing Life.
Yes.
Do you want to bring that to the next level, up to the next totem pole on the ladder, so to speak, or?
Yes. So when I divorced at 45, you have to remember I was a stay-at-home mom my entire life, which I loved being. So when you're 45 years old and you don't have a college degree and you're like going to have to figure your life out, you got to figure things out fast, right? So it's been a process. It's been a journey. That's why I became a personal trainer, which I love. I have my own business, but my heart and my soul and my passion has always been to uplift, encourage, empower others when there's that gap between them believing where they can go and where they know they can go. So that's kind of what Maksymizing Life has become. I wrote my book and I'm doing life coaching, and I just wrote a life coaching program called Who Am I? And it's a 6-week long program. And it really dives into helping a person really understand who they are on all different levels, from everything from personality type to core values, to love language, to strengths and weaknesses, and what's holding you back and what's your limiting beliefs. We really dive into all of this because you're your longest relationship. So you should invest in you to really become the greatest version of yourself. Because then you're attracting, you're being authentic, you're attracting, I have a saying I say all the time, unleash your inner superhero. And that means unleash that authentic self that was you when you were 8, 10, 12 years old. And now we're adults. Well, how did we lose that? Like, unleash that and get yourself out of your comfort zone. That's where the magic happens. So, my program is Who Am I? It's to help. It's a 6-week program. And that is my passion. And my ultimate thing is to be speaking places and sharing and doing a TED Talk one day.
Oh, that's important, because we're talking not only bodybuilding, but mind building. You have to be comfortable. You don't have to accept everything about yourself or be comfortable with everything about yourself. We always hopefully strive to be better, but we fall short. Nobody's perfect, right? But you can't look to someone else. Someone else might help you feel better about yourself for a while, but if you're not comfortable, at least to some degree, in your own skin, that's not going to last long or permanently. You've got to like yourself or love yourself before you can really truly love someone else also.
Yeah, I agree with you, Joseph. We're seeing a lot of that today, especially in our society, with, especially children today, the next generation of youth going through, drastic changes. And, we're seeing the whole, I hate to bring it up, but the LGBTQ and, that intertwining with children. I think it's I think it's messing with their mentality, their
Yeah.
brain, and everything else. So it is difficult, especially in this generation compared to my generation.
Like the show we did with Levon DuPont, a trans woman, put that in quotation marks because some people will get upset if you don't do that. But there's a difference, and I have no problem with that. I have no problem with any of that as you do it as an adult in your own life. It's a whole other thing when you're trying to recruit people into a lifestyle, recruit children, and muddy the water and complicate issues of sex that don't need to be peddled on children in grade school or junior high school.
Well, Joseph, since we're on this topic of transgender, I want to get back into the fitness environment because I'm sure Valerie could speak on this to an extent. Valerie, what is your perspective and your views on transgenders now competing in bodybuilding type of competitions? Because we're seeing that right now all over the country.
We are seeing that. I haven't seen it in any shows that I'm doing that I'm in, and I can see that on both sides here. So I don't think for women to a male body can beat us all day long without even trying, hands down. There is absolutely no way possible for a female to win. So I do my shows because this sport is there's no black and white. It's not like if you do this, this, and this, you have first place. It's very what the judges are seeing. Maybe they're like, well, I like her suit color, or I like her back better than her back. But you don't really know who gets first, second, or third, right?
It's like gymnastics and figure skating. There's some subjectivity and artisticness involved. Yeah. It's not a pure X number of basketball hoops wins the game.
Exactly. So going into this sport, I already know that it's me versus me in this sport. So it's me versus my last photos, my last show. So I really keep that mindset in competing. I would still compete if I was going against someone, that was transgender. I would still compete because I'm doing it for me, because I'm doing it to get better than I was last time. But if you're going to ask me, do I think it's fair? I don't think it's fair because they're going to win every time.
I wouldn't say
level. Yeah. And the reason why I brought that up is because going back in the late 90s, if anybody can remember this, with that pro wrestler, she's no longer here with us anymore. She went by the stage name of China. Mm-hmm. A lot of people, when they seen her, they placed that discrimination on her, saying, "Oh, well, that's a man right there, and what is she doing competing in female sports?" Because she had that huge physique and she looked very mannish. I'm going to be quite honest with you, guys. Looked very mannish. But that's the discrimination of what I'm, kind of going at. But obviously she wasn't a man. We found out later on that she was actually a woman, but she just had that men features.
Yeah, and I wanted to add too, not every time, but of course a majority of the time, a male definitely has the advantage. Because I was going to say a Ronda Rousey would kick my ass any and every day of the week.
Oh yeah. Yeah, the same thing, we're seeing a lot of, a lot of these female, MMA, there we go. Get it together, Mike. Yeah, the MMA stars, squaring it up. And I mean, to be honest with you, Joseph, I agree with you, buddy. I would not get in any cage in UFC, like Ronda Rousey or anyone, including that, because they're tough. They're tough chicks, but they're also beautiful chicks too. Ronda Rousey's gorgeous. Just like our guest here, Valerie. I mean, she's a very beautiful woman, but you have a great physique, and everything else. So you have to look at that. You really do.
But I forget, what's that, Leah Thompson or Thomas in the swimming? I mean, he was 100th ranking in male swimming. And then, of course, when he decided to pretend to be a she, all of a sudden she's breaking women's female swimming records. Give me a break. That's a man competing against women, and has
they actually brought that up, Joseph, with the great Arnold Schwarzenegger about bodybuilding and everything else. And Arnold Schwarzenegger, very surprised to hear Arnold Schwarzenegger because he's a pioneer in bodybuilding, coming from Australia or Austria. I think it's Austria. Yeah. And they asked him, they're like, what's your views on, transgender, competing in the opposite sex with bodybuilding and other, combat sports and other stuff like that. And he was like, I don't see a problem with that. This came from Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Well, he's a product of Hollywood now. I mean, so.
Speaking of Arnold, have you? Can you say, Valerie, have you competed for any of his competitions before? I know he does the Arnold Strongman still.
Yeah, he does the Arnold. I have not. He does the Arnold. That's kind of, it's a very high up there level competing. I have not done that.
Oh, is that on your bucket list, or you just choose not to do?
You have to be invited, and it's the top of the top that are in the pros. And I'm at a place right now where I'm looking at doing a different organization just because I don't want to personally get as big as you have to get in figure to compete in the pros in that organization.
Yeah.
And so it's kind of a give. Have too much muscle to do bikini, and that's where I started, and I really liked it. So I went to figure. And I've been doing figure and I do well at it. I've nationally qualified. I've done well, but not like if I wanted to get my pro card and then that's when you can go to the Arnold and those things and compete, I would have to put on so much more muscle and mass. And, at my age, it's like, I just really don't want to do that. That was my therapy. So there's another organization I'm thinking of competing in October, and it's more, you're still in a suit, but there's theme wear, and it's just I don't have to be so, muscular.
Yeah.
This April, WrestleMania.
I feel the need for speed.
Goes Hollywood.
I'm flying, Tez.
Funny how, like a clown, I amuse you, and there's no going back.
What's with the face paint? It's exfoliating. What's with the voice?
Savaged, unfiltered.
Valerie, I mean, there are competitors there that have that I don't want to say large physique, but like a physique that you would see normally on a woman that's into bodybuilding. There are stars out there that big stars, like in, whether it's, combat sports as UFC or, the WWE or any sport like that actually, pose in bikinis. So that's a entirely different type of category, but you would be very surprised. People are into that.
And also, like we talked about mental health, you have to do what is within your boundaries, what you feel comfortable with. And this isn't like 30 years ago, 3 decades ago. You can go for just what niche you are comfortable with. And there are so many sports channels with sports programming that these competitions are on that you still have access to, and prize money are within your reach to still do well within your comfort zone.
Yes.
Yeah, Joseph, they have a lot of competitions here, for folks that listen to the show here and follow me on social media. I live in Florida, Valerie, and I can tell you all over Florida, especially here in Orlando, there's some competitions in Tampa, very strong in Fort Lauderdale, Miami. Yes. They're all over the state.
I competed in Orlando before.
Yeah.
Yes.
Did you compete near the, there's a big competition kind of thing that they put up at an event near Universal Studios. Is that where you competed at, or? Oh, okay.
Yeah, that was it.
Good. I'm glad you'd be part of Universal rather than the Mickey Mouse, whatever.
You had to throw the Mickey in there, didn't you, buddy? Yeah. Valerie, as we close it up here, do you want to add anything to the show for some of my listeners that listen on iHeart and Spotify and We're pretty much all over the place on digital audio and, obviously Rumble, where we make little snippets sometimes of the show to plug into Rumble and True Social and Retalk.
I guess the only thing we didn't really talk on is I did write a book. I self-published it. It went on Amazon in October of 2022. And so that was a big moment for me, because in high school I could barely pass reading and writing just because I had such ADD and other learning things. So it was a huge accomplishment that I actually, and I literally, I didn't have a ghostwriter or anything. I literally, every word I wrote,
Yep.
I did the editing myself, because
you pretty much winged it then. You're basically what they call in the writing industry an independent writer.
I learned a lot because I hired a company and I gave them $8,000 to help me with my, they kind of supposed to help you from start to finish and all the ins and outs. And it ended up being a company that was in a different country, and I lost my money and everything.
Oh no! Yeah, that's one of the.
I know. I had a huge.
Yeah.
I either had to quit or I had to just figure it out myself. So I kept going and I got it done. And I was very, very proud moment that I finished that. I have a second book I'm writing now. It's much easier, but my book is called Maksymizing Life. And in that book, the first 4 chapters are the steps that I took from when I was literally surviving everyday panic attacks, just in that survival mode to thriving, to, what the 4 steps I took to take me from.
Yeah. The first book, I was checking it out, and I'm sorry, Valerie, I was trying to get as much as possible into the episode here with you, with the bodybuilding and, your journey and your story and everything. But I have checked out some of that book, and it covers a lot of in depth of, the background of you. And that's awesome. Yeah. I checked out the first half on Amazon where they do that little sample feature.
Yes.
Yeah.
And like I said, I wrote the book very basic. I've had so many people reach out to me, and I just give them things to think on. And there's little places in there for them to take notes. But everybody that's read it kind of has different takes on it. And that was the thing, because we all have a different journey in the way that we're going to heal, but at least gives you some guidance and some things to think about.
Absolutely. I mean, all 3 of us, I don't know if you realize, but all 3 of us here in this episode, we're authors. I've written my first book and coming out with my second in May. Joseph has written a book. He's just published his second book not too long ago. So, I mean, that's awesome. I mean, I think writing books really explains the true background and the character of the individual. You could see it a little bit through podcasting and, through, social media and stuff like that, whether it's video or whatever. But I think the book really explains the journey or the story. And that's just my
You can
opinion.
help a lot of people with the mental and physical aspects. I take it you don't just deal in bodybuilding, but the whole overall life enhancement in your book, right?
Exactly. Yes. And I wrote my book as a premise because to help women to be where I was at. But the funny thing is, I have more men that reach out to me and talk to me and open up to me than women. And I find that very interesting. And it's like, they're like, I've never told anybody these things. And they just feel like, because it's a safe place to talk, right? When you're in a life coaching. But I find it interesting that there's so many men that are hungry for this message, but they don't know how to reach out or get help because it's not really cool to do that.
Now, Valerie, you said you feel that you could reach out to men more than women, right? Do you feel like is it because maybe you feel like you're part of the guys or something like that, or because
growing up, I've never been around men, and then I was in 2 marriages where I wasn't allowed to talk to men, so I didn't even start talking to men until I was 45 years old. But I learned a lot about the men I was with and the ins and outs and the do's and don'ts, and so I can relate to a lot of things. And
Gotcha.
And so that was one of my things when I divorced, to get myself healthy, to realize that it is healthy to be able to talk to men and women. And I don't know what it is, but when they just start opening up, I guess because I'm very non-judgmental, there's nothing you can tell me that I haven't probably heard or whatever, because it's your journey, not mine. We're trying to get you from point A to where you're trying to go.
You're damn right. You're damn right. And yeah, we're going to close it out here with you, Valerie. I really thank you for coming on to Savage Unfiltered. It was amazing hearing your story. It was amazing hearing your journey through life. I mean, you got into a lot of in-depth personal journeys on the show. Let's just leave it like that. And you have a book out, and you said you're writing your second book. So, I mean, that's great. Do you see yourself writing more books, or is it are you taking time off right now, or what's next for?
I'm writing my second book now. I see myself writing books and speaking places and writing a life coaching program. So I just finished writing my first life coaching program. So I'm just following it one day at a time.
That's great. You got anything, Joseph, before we depart with Miss Maksym?
Yeah. Well, now the song, the Steve Winwood, Valerie, call me song that's going to be in my head all day. So Mike, you need to dig up Steve Winwood Valerie song to close out the episode.
Yeah, we'll put it in there somewhere around there. Yeah, but Valerie, thank you very much for being part of Savage Unfiltered, and you have a good rest of your afternoon, evening, depending on your time zone. But yeah, thanks for joining us today.
All right, thank you for having me.
Take care, Valerie. God bless.
God bless. Bye.
All righty, Joseph. We're going to close it out, man. Wow, that was an awesome story of hearing from her. It sounds like she got into a lot of in-depth, personal journeys that she went through. I mean, she went through rock bottom in life from at least 19, I heard correctly, up to like about her early 40s, and I think the successful milestone hit right around her mid 40s, and it seems like it's doing great for her.
Yeah, and it's great to hear, and why in part I wrote How to Write a Book and Get It Published, Hints, Tips, and Techniques, follow up to my Terror Strikes Coming Soon to a City Near You book, is she went through a healing process for herself as well as then helping others. And there's a lot of other people.
Yeah.
A lot of other people who have books like that in them that I hope I can help them get to market through my book.
Yeah, that's awesome. Awesome stuff, guys. Well, I want to thank you for tuning into today. Hopefully next week after I get back, guys, I'm leaving tomorrow morning. I'm going up to Georgia. So hopefully by next week, guys, when I come back, the restream, indigestion. I was drinking a soda as I was listening to Valerie here. But yeah, hopefully next week, guys, we'll be back to a regular restream format. Kind of sucks that we have to use the audio. But hey, I think we haven't used audio in probably about like 4 or 5 months now. So yeah, it's always good for a change.
Well, they've got time to get it back on track since Mr. Vacation's on vacation again.
Yeah, I gotta visit the family, Joseph. The family is calling for me in Northwest Georgia. I'm gonna be up in Cartersville, guys, which is like almost an hour and a half northwest of Atlanta. So yeah, it's going to be a little chilly, I'm told, up there at night. So I got to get into my my winter pants because today was 100 freaking degrees here in Central Florida.
Yeah, cry us a river.
Yeah, I know. You guys are possibly having snow and sleet in the next couple of hours.
Yes, I already have sleet going on right now. Yep.
Poor Sauce is begging for his internet connection to come back. But guys, remember, like I say to everybody, keep it savage, and we'll see you next week. Take it easy.